What's happening, everyone? JayShockblast here, and check it out. Superman is in the theaters today, July 10th, 2025, and I was fortunate enough to see it this past Tuesday, 2 days ago, thanks to a promotion through Amazon and Fandango. So I went with my brother and my wife, and I decided to take a day to let it kind of sit, because in the afterglow of seeing it, I might have tweeted that it was the greatest DC movie of all time. And after kind of sitting on it, talking to some friends that saw it as well, and really kind of giving it a lot of thought, I can honestly say it's my favorite DC movie of all time. That doesn't mean it's the best. I think the Batman is technically the best, but the difference we have between, a very technical and cerebral movie like the Batman and James Gunn's brand new Superman movie is just pure joy. This to me is what Superman is supposed to feel like, truth, justice, and the American way. He's just this big old Boy Scout, and I didn't think it was possible for anyone to make me look and see Superman more than Henry Cavill did. And I was sad like everybody else when when they announced that they were going to replace him. But my God, did they nail it with David Corenswet, because to me, I can't see anybody else as Superman. And I felt it. I felt his performance. I felt he was legit. These are the early days of Superman. They established a timeline where he's been out and active as Superman for 3 years. James Gunn really respects the audience by not putting us through this big, origin story all over again. We've seen, Superman's origin story time and time again. We don't need to figure out how he got to Earth and who he is. We know who Superman is. And that's what I love the most about James Gunn doing it the way he did, is he just started us in the middle of a crisis, okay? And most of the start of the movie is stuff that you see in the trailers. I am going to do my best to avoid spoilers. I really want to just talk generally about the movie and why it resonated so much with me. And honestly, David Corenswet is the biggest thing. The casting in general is just fantastic. But David Corenswet as Superman might be one of the best casting choices I've ever seen. I truly believe that this portrayal of Superman is exactly who he's supposed to be. He is trying to do the right thing. He's trying to protect the people of Earth. He's trying to be a good person. And not just as Superman, though, but as Clark Kent, too. I think it's really great that we didn't have to watch him court Lois Lane. Like, they're established. Everything is there and established, except the Justice League, by the way. But the casting in this movie is so good. Everybody was so good. Skyler, Gisondo, and Rachel Brosnahan, Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane, so good at what they do. Like, they were so fun and believable. And, you always know that Lois Lane is going to be a bit of a firecracker. She's like a superstar, Pulitzer-level reporter. I think Pulitzer might be for writing books. Anyway, you get the point. She is, and that's how it's portrayed. And Jimmy is, like, all about, being that helper and everything. And I think the whole suite at the Daily Planet really effectively did their jobs, did it great. Like, I thought that part was so cool. Obviously, you're going to look at Lex Luthor, but I'll get to Lex in a minute. I want to talk a lot about the three members of what will hopefully eventually be the Justice League. We had, obviously Guy Gardner as Nathan Fillion. Everybody loves Nathan Fillion. Everybody's made fun of his haircut from that one scene where he throws up the wall so that everybody can't look in at Superman going having a moment. And they make fun of the haircut in the movie too. But I will say that's the worst scene, for him. Like, in the whole movie, he looks better in every other part of the movie, and it's not that bad. I mean, the haircut is a Guy Gardner haircut. Like, he has his weird bowl cut. So, like, I get it. It's fine. Isabela Merced, it's funny. My wife clocked it right away. She's like, oh, she was in The Last of Us. We had just finished watching The Last of Us. She's fine as Hawkgirl. She does this screaming thing a lot. Obviously, that's what she was supposed to do. I'm not blaming her, but it seems unnecessary at times. But maybe it's part of what makes Hawkgirl Hawkgirl. But I think the big star that is going to come out of that trio is going to be Mr. Terrific, Edi Gathegi. I hope I said his name right. We've obviously seen Mr. Terrific before in Arrow, and that version of Mr. Terrific was fun and goofy and aloof, but a genius and really good. And I did appreciate that portrayal. But Mr. Terrific in this movie is a badass. He's brilliant. He's assertive. He's sure of himself, and he can handle everything that kind of comes his way. And I think that this is going to elevate Mr. Terrific as a character. I think a lot of people are going to watch this movie and say, man, I love Mr. Terrific. He was awesome. You know, and I think that, as far as I'm concerned, after David Corenswet as Superman, he is the second best character in the movie. It's nothing against Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult playing Lex Luthor. You know, he's great. I love him as an actor. You know, I think we've all wanted him cast as a million different superheroes. And I think he was fine as Lex Luthor. There's been so many great Lex Luthors, you know, specifically Michael Rosenbaum from, Smallville. And there's obviously been lots of great Supermen. But, like, where David Corenswet, like, owned it, Lex did the best he could, you know? And I don't want to get into the story. The story to me is the weakest part of the movie, and the reason why I wanted to take a step back and say, well, it's my favorite DC movie, but is it technically the best? No, I think The Batman is technically the best DC movie. You know, I think, that story is just so cerebral, but it's so serious, and it's not quite, what this is, which the stakes are high, and you always, are aware of the stakes, and you're always hoping that Superman's going to win the day, and ultimately, obviously, he's going to, because he's freaking Superman, and I really just felt like I felt such joy, I smiled, I laughed, I really enjoyed it, and I didn't feel like the humor was, like, forced. Like, think of the first time you saw Guardians of the Galaxy, and I trust James Gunn to make a great movie. He made Suicide Squad, very presentable. There are some other characters that pop up in the movie. I want them to be surprises for you. There are even some people that I didn't even realize were who they were. But I'm going to leave that alone because I really want people to go into this and be very surprised and not necessarily. I don't want to be the one to spoil anything. This movie, I'm giving it like a 9.3 out of 10. I just loved it. The weakness is the story, a little basic, but I think at the same time that was the point, and that is what James Gunn was trying to show. This is just a regular day for Superman, or a regular week. I don't know how long the time frame is for the movie, but this is just Superman being Superman on a Thursday, right? There's no grand intro, and it just starts. You're just in the middle of a battle. And by the way, I'm sorry, I lied. Everybody is going to absolutely love Crypto. We watched the movie, and after the movie was over, at the concessions, they had this little plushie Crypto, and I immediately bought it for my wife. Crypto, absolute stud in this movie, and it's really great. I love it. And Crypto's owner does make an appearance at the end of the movie, and that is, I'm going to just loosely say it's somebody I did not see for the role, and now that I see it, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna leave it at that. That's not totally a spoiler, but there are also some like minor cameos that work really well that you're not gonna be surprised when you see them. But there's also Jor-El. I did not realize Jor-El is who he was. Let's just say that James Gunn dips into some of the actors he's worked with over time. You can obviously go on IMDb and see who everybody is, but I don't want to be the one to say it. I just love the movie, man. I really loved it. I'm not a Superman fan, okay? Like, this is not a character that has ever meant much to me. I've always appreciated him, but like, I think it was always kind of like the punk rock kid, the hardcore kid in me, and that's a reference that Lois makes early on in the movie. That like Superman is one of like the top characters in the world, one of the most recognizable characters in the world. So there's this part of me that's like, well, everybody loves Superman. I love Atrocitus. I love, Green Arrow. I love, these kind of second tier. Hawkman was one of my favorites growing up. Like, these are the characters that I like because, they're awesome and not everybody knows about them. But like, this movie, I watched it and it made me feel like, God damn, I want a Superman shirt now, Like, I want everybody to know I loved that movie. I like Superman, I can't stress enough. I really hope you guys see it in the theaters. It's a great experience. It is a joy. It is fun. It's not perfect. It's not like the greatest story in the world. It could honestly have been an episode of Smallville, right? But I think that's the point. And it really resonated with me. And I'm looking forward to seeing how James Gunn builds out the rest of this DC universe. I think we are in really, really good hands. If you have been waiting for these DC movies to hit and just been disappointed, in the Green Lantern and, the first Suicide Squad and The Flash, some of these movies that Wonder Woman 1984, a lot of these movies just didn't hit. I really think that we're gonna get some good stuff here, and I think that's why the two main kind of villains, if you will, were so generic. I was weird because they used Ultraman, and he's part of Earth 2, and I was like, why are they doing Ultraman? Why are they using him? And it doesn't make sense, but it will by the end of the movie. But I feel like they kind of stayed away from some of like the bigger Superman threats and villains because we're going to build our way up there. I think they're just going to I hope they keep pumping these movies out. Like, if they're all going to be like this, I don't need as much comedy all the time, but like, I felt like it was just right. And I think you're going to love the movie, and I hope you love the movie. And I would love to hear what you guys think about the movie. I know my buddy Free Willy Rocks on my Discord had his issues with it, and they were fair. I think he gave it a 7.5, which, if that's the worst, like, then we're in good shape. I want this movie to make a lot of money because I want to see more DC. I want this to be the movie that keeps DC alive, and then the next movie keep doing it, Anyway, that's what I got for you. I can't wait for everybody to see it. Definitely see it in the theaters. It's worth it. It's so good. I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see ya.